Put down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Investors, this is your friend Steve VanCauwenbergh, the Savvy Landlord. Beep, beep, boop, boop. How you do? Well, I'm trying to get back to the podcast on a massive scale. Yeah, I dropped you back off. Now I put you back on the bus, and now I'm trying to bang them out. So the other day, I came across this dude in my neighborhood, and he's a sharp guy. I mean, super entrepreneur, super stud, and he's been wanting to get in real estate. And I don't know if he knew me or something, but we connected somehow. And so I posted on Facebook the other day that I had a house for sale, and he texted me and said, hey, man, I want to look at the house. He was like the first one. So he looked at it, and he called me right after he looked at it. He's like, hey, I want to talk to you about the house. I want to buy it. And I was like, whoa. Anyone that I know that's going to buy a crib from me, I want to give them full disclosure. I mean, I would give full disclosure to anyone, but especially if you're in my neighborhood, not only in my neighborhood with boys, I want to make sure you understand what you're buying into and you get the full gist of everything. So anyway, he said, sure, man, I'll meet with you. Let's get it on. And so when I dug deep into, what's his motive? What are you trying to do? It popped out this little episode, and I was on fire when I was trying to help him, and I'm a little, already weaned down. But it was good to break this stuff off and, where he was and where he needs to go. And hopefully I gave him some direction, and hopefully he tunes in and listens to this episode. But it may birth into something else even greater. Like another friend of mine who continues to run into newbies and suggested that, man, maybe we should put out a product or a course or something that's like the basics, like number one, do this, number two, do this, and work on from there. The fascinating thing is it's like it does get easier, party people. If you're brand spanking new, it does seem overwhelming. To me, I'm digging into apartments. It seems overwhelming, but when I stop and reflect back, man, how far I've come, you can do the same thing. And so I'm just going to break off. Maybe this will inspire you. Maybe you'll get some questions. Maybe you'll text me, email me so I can get this going. So the first thing, I was like, bro, what are you trying to do? And he was all over the place. He's like, man, I'm looking on Craigslist and I'm looking on the MLS and I'm trying to find deals. And he just moved here from Texas and he doesn't even know what to look for. And I was like, whoa, hold up, wait a minute. You don't even know the areas. You don't know what east side is, what southwest side. And, if I can, I don't know if I can numerically order this in order, but I'm just going to break off random stuff. And hopefully this jars your memory, or it gets you to start getting motivated, or get off your horse and get up on it, or get off the couch and get up on it. First of all, you need to know where your area is, where you need to mine. Now, I have mined only in 3 specific areas. If you mentioned Yukon or Piedmont, I may dibble-dabble in that area. It's out of my zone. If you're talking about the south side, it has to be smoking deal, like 50% ARV. If it's on the east side, I'm getting kind of salty on the east side. I'm getting kind of frustrated over there. Especially in the month of December, folks ain't paying, people are moving, it breaks off the cash flow. If you're relying on cash flow, I definitely would do a safer bet. You're talking about Midwest City, you're talking about Northwest Oklahoma City, I'm in. You talk about Edmond, I'm out, and it's just because the reason why I'm out in Edmond is because of the numbers don't make sense. If 1%, and if you don't know the 1% rule, let's just break it off. If it's $100,000 property, it should at least, it should do 1.5, but let's just give you basic numbers. If it's a $100,000 crib, it should bring in a minimum of $1,000 a month rent. So that some friend of mine who is did mobile homes, it has to be 2 points out the gate. So, it's just a good perspective or quick analysis or whatever you want to call it, so you're up on it very quickly. Okay. So back to the point, you got to know your area, where you're going to mine. And I mined in specific areas. Why? I think blue collar people, I'm blue collar. I understand their language. They usually are paycheck to paycheck. They don't want to move, or, they don't really, they're just content. Now, when I know the blue collar areas, that's where I mined. I'm all about consistency. It started back in 1992 where I can buy a $35,000 house. If somebody bounced out, I can afford a $300 payment. Now, that was my philosophy back then. Today, 18 years later, I'm trying to get out of the hood, but I'm still liking the blue collar working class neighborhoods. So in your market, find out what is the blue collar working class neighborhood. Now, there's nothing wrong with being in the hood. If you go back some old episodes, there's gold in the hood, and I don't know, I made up all kinds of funky stuff. It does, and your returns are about 2.5 on it. So let's just say, for example, if it's a $500 rental, you should be 1% would be 500. 2.5 would be 7.5, which would be $750 minimum. And if you do your debt service and your mortgage payment, you should be cash flowing at least $250, $350 is a home run. But what I have learned 18 years later, you got to take off $100 for drama. And I'm talking about $100 off the gross. So if you're charging $700, you're getting $600 because something's going to go wrong, something's going to break. I'm not talking about general real estate landlording. I'm talking about brain damage, moving out in the middle of the night, something missing. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I think it's critical that you know where you're at. If you're just moving to a market, you got to get familiar. You got to get with people, find out where people are going, and don't be overwhelmed. It is competitive, okay? But there's so many deals out there. You just got to keep going. I just told you the areas that I'm in. If I was worried about competition, I wouldn't be telling you. Now, my philosophy was when everybody was going to the northwest side, that's where everybody's going right now, or everybody was going to the outskirts, I was mining in the hood, in the northeast side. Nobody was mining in the northeast side. There was only about 3 buyers, myself and 2 other guys that I knew of. If it worked out great. If a deal came by, they called one of us. And it made sense. Now, today, in 2017, knocking on 18, man, it just seems like there's about 20 people in the east side. Now, the interesting thing is about a year and a half ago, a guy that I kind of helped out in the beginning, he bulked up with about 12 units on the east side, and he's out of the east side. So some people can't handle it. Some people can. But you got to know what your propensity is, what you want to deal with. Me, I just was so desperate to get in the game of real estate. An asset is an asset. I cut my teeth on Ghetto properties, and I learned a lot. I learned about management. I learned about budgeting. I learned about how to deal with people. So know your area. If you're going to be in a more white collar neighborhood, the numbers are not as robust, but your stress level should be a little bit different. That's one step above blue collar. Now, keep in mind, people get all juiced up. The high-end homes and the low-end homes. Let me tell you, they're the same energy on a ghetto and a high. High-end people think they own you. High-end people think that you need to jump in the middle of the night. High-end people think that they should get a reduction. High-end people think that they don't stink, okay? Now, the low-end people, they don't care. So it's the same energy, okay? But on the high-end homes, the damage of someone moving out, lawsuits, I'm going to sue you because my friend's an attorney, is the same economical result. So you do the math, you figure it out. So my homie, I was like, dude, first of all, know your areas. And I just drew a map for him. This is where everybody's mining. This is where you can't go wrong. There's areas in Oklahoma City you just cannot go wrong. Can you get lucky in those areas and find deals? Yes. Are you going to pay more in those places? Yes. Are you going to get a return? Yes. Are you going to be patient? You should. You got to be patient in this market in Oklahoma City today. So then I broke all that off on them. And then the next thing is I was like, look, And this dude was super duper green. I mean, like he first of all, he said that he had cash. And I was like, homie, right out the gate, you got to stop saying the word cash. Now, years ago, when I learned, I would knock people out with the cash. I got cash. I can close quick. Man, today, 20 years later, I'm like, man, what terms do you want? How can we make this a no money down deal in my mind? All right. So I'll pay you more if it's a no money down deal. Now, I wouldn't say that to the seller, but I would be creative. I wish when I got in the game, I was creative. Owner finance is all that I thought my mind could achieve. Today, then the banks corrupted me, and then money was not hard to borrow. And today, it's still the same. But, man, if you do, private money, owner finance, it's just going to explode even faster. If you have cash, or whatever it is, 50,000, 100, 10, 5, or $1, try not to use any of your own cash ever. Ever. Let me tell you one more time. An investor is an investor, okay? He wants to get his return as back as possible, and then get his money back, and then get a return as fast as possible. If you buy a house with $50,000 cash, and that's all the cash you have, you got this thing that's going to stab you. It's called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. That means if you jam up all your cash, you can't buy nothing else. Now, you got an asset, that may be performing or not, meaning it may be rented or not, but you have no cash. You can't you can run to the bank, and then you got to play by their rules. But if you had that $50,000 cash, and your goal, again, we'll have to get into why are you doing this, what's your strategy, but if your goal is to have 10 units to then go get a portfolio loan, you can take that $50,000 and put it on 10 other houses and get 10 times the return, and now you own 10 assets that are performing, 10 tax deductions. You just stepped into a whole new arena. So look, my rookie friend, I know you can hear me now. You hear me? Is it tuning in? Are you down with me or with the VC? Because you are jammed up paying 50 for an asset that may or may not perform. But then if you took that 50 and bought 10 assets and only, let's just say 7 are performing and 3 are down, you ain't that bad. But if that one asset that you bought for 50 and you bought it in the wrong neighborhood and it's not written out, it's not performing, and you got no cash because it's tied up in the asset, are you feeling me? Do you hear me? Can I get a what? Amen. All right. So you got to understand, stop saying cash. You only say cash, not to other investors, maybe to a bank to build to build credibility. Maybe if you got cash, put it in a bank, take 2 banks, 25, open up an account and do your business. Now, so stop with the cash. The next thing is you got to educate yourself. Like, I'm glad that you tuned into the Savvy Radio Show. Bang, it fills me, all right? But it's 13 minutes. You got to listen to all of them. You got to grind it out like nobody's business, like minimum of 10 minutes a day. I would say an hour a day. If you want to get juicy, there's a audiobook was on sale right now. Audible, Brian Tracy, How to Make Money, or Make Money Now, or Make Money. Just Google up Brian Tracy, Make Money. It's $10, but it's half price, so it's $5. The thing that he said there, billionaires, my boy, what's his name, Warren Buffett. The dude reads like hours a day, like more than 3 to 4 hours a day. He does unbelievable research on the assets, and he just makes $25 billion a year. $25 billion. Don't you think we could get some wisdom from that dude? And what's that wisdom? The dude reads on a daily. He educates himself on a daily on what he wants to learn. People get blown away. Oh, I can't believe VC, you made it this far. You done this. Oh, you came from nothing. You were homeless. You were, you OG. Dude, I educate myself every day. There's a great book out there from Kiyosaki called Teach to Be Rich. The more that I get on the podcast, the more that I instill into you, it is empowering me. There's got to be some homie or some girl in your world, your wife or your significant other or whatever, that you, look, I just got this. I went to this real estate thing. I went to the Savvy radio show. I heard about how you can quantify, what depreciation is. You don't know what depreciation is? Google it up. Figure it out. Educate yourself. I'm talking about get nutty with it. Just get nutty with it. I hear people all the time like, oh, I listen to podcasts. Like they don't even get juicy. I don't listen to, I just listen to what's going to bring me the money. That's Brian Tracy. What's going to motivate me? E.T. Grant Cardone. And then I hang around my homies. You heard the podcast the other day. Stay away from the punks, right? Stick with the 5. But you educate yourself. If you don't know how to educate yourself, I'm not trying to talk about myself. Dip on the Savvy Radio. Dip on my book, the Savvy Landlord. It's somewhat, I go through every deal I did from start to finish, 50 units, play by play. I love it when people say, hey, man, I felt sorry for you. I did too. But my goal to write the book is so you don't make those mistakes. Hopefully I have grinded this out in your mind that, dude, educate yourself. All right. Then figure out, you got to know your why, obvious, what's your strategy, and what's your exit strategy. Man, when I was talking to my homie, I got cash. I got cash too, but I don't spend it. I got cash. And then I go, what do you want to do? What's your strategy? I want to flip. What? I had a cough on you. What? Yeah, I had a cough. I had to get the germs out because I had to spit it out. You gonna flip? Come on, man. And I spent about 30 minutes on why flipping is for the birds. But this is not the episode for that. If it is the episode, let your boy know, and I may break it off. All right. And then I was like, bro, you got to get inside 100 houses. I learned this from Robert Elder, big baller, Oklahoma City, 600 houses plus. This dude's been crushing it since the 80s. He just makes little people just inspired. But one day I was so honored. He actually added me in a sentence. For real. I look up to this dude. He's in Oklahoma City. And he goes, the difference between you and myself and VanCauwenbergh. I was like, my ears perked up. I'm like, what? What? This dude, like, he's even calling me in the inning? Like, we're on the same team? He goes, the difference between VanCauwenbergh and I and you guys is that we've just had more time and more houses. Ooh, come on, Robert. More time and more houses. More time and more houses. More time and more houses. Get juicy. More time and more houses. Get juicy. More time and more houses. Yes, more time and more. You got to get off the freaking video games. Turn down the OU Sooners. Like, I don't even know. Mayfield, it was on, got the whoopee woo. Did he make you money? Or you got a retirement off of Mayfield? No. You should be in a crib right now checking out a property with a flashlight, looking under the foundation, looking in the attic, figuring out why is this a deal? What's going on? What did the landlord do before you? Be Dick Tracy. Find out, were they a slumlord? How many coats of paint? Is there HVAC? Is it R22, 410A? Is it electric, total electric? Is there a furnace, heat and air? You've got to grind it out. You've got to get inside houses. Now, the rule of thumb is 100 houses to analyze. Like, Kiyosaki said it. I think Robert E. G. Allen said it. I don't know who said it. But I'm telling you, get inside 100 houses. Like, get in your car or your truck or your Uber or your car or whatever and go and look inside the houses. It's monotonous. Yep, success is monotonous. Do it. All right, you got it. That's it. So, in my final thought, man, I don't know if you'll like this. I don't know if you're going to tune in 19 minutes, but I'm going to let this one roll. And this is it. I'm going to end with this. First of all, I can't believe you made it. Made it for the 20. Here's the deal. You got to think like an investor. That's right. Think like one. Now check this out. 18 years I've been a real estate investor, died, and came back multiple times. Wanted to give up multiple times. Just this year, 17, I got smashed in the face. Dude's like, look, sounds like you heard that podcast already. It said, dude, it sounds like you need to be a better investor. And I'm telling you today, you need to be an investor to think like an investor. Think like an investor. Think like an investor. Would an investor do that? Would an investor cut corners? He would do his due diligence. What would an investor do? They got to make money. They got to get a return and use as least as possible with the biggest return. All right. Hopefully this will inspire you. Let your friend know. We're friends. If you made it 20, then you robbing me. So let me know if this was inspiring. I need some love. Let me get the ball rolling. You tuned in. Now go out there and go buy assets.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.